everybody. This is going to be a quick training video on the Scott Hush air compressor. First of all, starting off, we're going to look at the compressor right here. Like I said, it's a Scott Hush air compressor, 6,000 psi. It's 208 volts, 3-phase. It is 15 horsepower, and it utilizes the CO monitor and is an enclosed system. You can come around the compressor. You're going to see the breaker shut off for it. Behind this screen, you're going to see the filters in there, and then just below, you're going to see the oil dump and then the breaker panel for the compressor. So the oil dump will have a fill line, or a full line, excuse me, that you're going to have to just check every once in a while and then dump it as needed. Coming around the front of the compressor, you're going to have your individual gauges for the 4 stages. All those should operate when the compressor is in normal operation. Just below here, you're going to have a plastic dipstick for the oil, which you're going to need to check that before using the compressor. And it's going to be right here. You're going to unscrew it. And then just check for the oil on the end of the dipstick. And then same thing, just finger tight when you put it back. Next, you're going to have your 4 ASME bottles. These ASME tanks or bottles store 454 cubic feet of air at 5,000 or 525 cubic feet at 6,000. Below each ASME, you're going to have individual gauges for each individual tank, and that'll give a readout of the pressure on it. Okay, the next part we're going to talk about is the revolve air fill station, and we're just going to go over quickly the parts on it. So it's the revolve air fill station, real similar to the one on Rescue 5. First thing you're going to have is the Scott X4 controller, which will do all the operations of operating the compressor. You're going to have your alarm orifice, your emergency stop, which per the rep, you're only going to use that in case of a true emergency. Your top gauge is going to be representative of your compressor pressure, and then below is your storage pressure. And when you're filling from storage, or from like the banks, as people might call it, it's going to automatically select the lowest ASME bottle that is just above your breathing air cylinder pressure. So when you're operating this from the storage, you'll notice that the gauge on here will fluctuate between the different ASME bottles. Over here, you're going to have your selector valve, so either 4,500 or 5,500 psi. You're going to have your fill control, just like on Rescue 5, which finger tight, you don't need to crank it down too hard. And then this is going to be your BA cylinder pressure, which is going to be your bottle pressure when you do the revolve air chamber. So down below here, you're going to have 2 places to connect your bottles. So 1 on each side. Same thing when you tighten them down, just finger tight. And then up above here, you're going to have a little bleeder valve for when you're done filling your bottle. To the right, you'll see that there's a yellow strip that surrounds the revolve air fill station. That represents that the fill station is locked in a locked position. And then also you can see down here, it says locked as well with the handle. To unlock it, you simply just lift it up. You'll see the yellow kind of disappears, and then that will allow you to rotate the fill station. And then on the other side, same thing, 2 bottle connections and then another bleeder valve. And then to lock it, just push it down. Okay, the next thing we're going to go over is filling a bottle. We'll just show how to fill it from the storage or the ASME tanks. And it's basically the same as filling off the compressor. You just don't have to turn on the compressor, is the only difference. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get your bottle, You're gonna check the integrity of the bottle itself, make sure there's no damage to it, and then you're gonna check for the latest hydrostatic test sticker, and it has to be within 5 years of the date on the latest hydro sticker. Check the gauge, make sure it needs to be filled, and then also you can check to make sure it's within 15 years of the manufacturer date, which you can see right there is 0604. So once all that's checked and good, you're going to connect your bottle to the fill station. And remember, per the ops manual, helmet and gloves. So you can do 2 bottles at once. For the demonstration, I'm just going to show 1 bottle. So when you go to hook up the bottle, you check that the O-ring's intact right there. That's a ball nose O-ring. If it's not there, it's going to leak. So just thumb tight. Once you have both your bottles or a single bottle hooked up, you're going to make sure the bleeder's closed. Then you're going to open the bottle up. And you're going to open it up all the way. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to unlock the revolve air station. And then you're going to rotate it so that the bottle goes into the blast chamber. Push it down and lock it. And then once you see the yellow, you know it's locked in place. You can see on the breathing air cylinder gauge right here, that's going to represent what your bottle pressure is. So you can see it's right around 2600. You're going to check your selector valves set for 4500 psi, which is what the bottle pressure is. And then you're going to open up your fill control. And so you just open it up slowly and then just wait till it starts, you can hear it filling. And the slower you fill the bottle, the better. Obviously it's time dependent, but open it up slowly and let it fill slowly. So like I said, this thing uses a smart fill station. And so what it'll do is it'll select the lowest ASME tank that is above the bottle pressure, and that way it essentially cascades the system. You can see right now the storage pressure is at about 5,800, and that's that bank is filling the cylinder pressure. So we'll let that build up. Okay, so once your bottle pressure is at 4,500, the regulator should stop the fill of the bottle. What you're going to do is you're going to close the fill control, just finger tight, and then what you're going to do is you're going to unlock the blast chamber, the fill station, rotate it around, and that's the bleeder was open on the other side, so whenever you're done you can bleed off the residual pressure. You're going to close the cylinder valve, check your gauge, make sure it's filled so it's reading 4,500, so we know we're good on that. And then once you close both cylinder valves, which in this case we're only using one, you're going to open the bleeder valve. And you need to bleed that off to relieve pressure off the bottle. That we can undo the hand wheel. So we're good on that. Store the bottle as necessary, and then put the cap back on. Unless you have more bottles to fill.